People feel like it's a runaway train right now, and they're on it, and they have no control.
They don't know what's going on. They're in the dark.
Yeah, they're in the dark. So that's how those meetings happen, where people show up and they're like taking the mic and they're like, blah, 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 blah. And then you're just like sitting there, you're like, I get why this person's angry.
This should be the conversation, is that telling people like, hey, before you get angry, let's get educated. Let's start figuring out how all this stuff works.
Yes.
The politics, the development,
right?
Everything. Do you ever feel frustrated by your local government system that doesn't work well, or wonder why everyday infrastructure problems never seem to get solved? Our guest in this episode, Alexander Hamilton, who served on his local board of education and is now running for city council, has a sharp eye for what's broken and a real passion for fixing it. In this episode, we dig into why public resources often don't reach people who need it most, how bureaucracy creates layers of confusion, and what it takes to make meaningful change in your community. We talk about the problems nobody wants to touch, like mismanaged budgets, inaccessible leadership, and the disconnect between public institutions and citizens. But more importantly, we talk about solutions and why people like Alex seek to run for public office. This conversation will give you insight into how you think about civic responsibility, transparency, and what it means to serve the public good. Let's meet Alex.
Remember the first time my son said, I got whatevered. And I was like, right away, it was like a record scratch moment. And I said, we're not doing that here.
Right.
And he was like, what? And I said, right. Like when you just said, you said what? And then you added ever?
Yeah.
Never.
Right.
So remember, that's the word that comes after whatever is never. We're not doing that here. Right. It's not whatever. We'll have a conversation about it. If you don't agree with something I have to say, let's talk about it. But whatever, I'm not going to let you agree to disagree and walk away, because I'm still your father and you're still my son, and you need to understand that that doesn't change until maybe you're about 48, you know? So.
What's his name?
His name is Cole.
Cole? Oh,
yeah, Cole Hamilton.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Cole Hamilton.
Yeah.
Well, you got such a cool name, man.
I do. Well, I have an interesting thing about that. So here's the deal with my name, and I got to be full disclosure with you about this. Alexander is my middle name. Okay, so my father, I was named after my father. My father's name was Vernon Hamilton. Mm-hmm. Okay, I was born Vernon Alexander Hamilton. But Vernon Alexander Hamilton. But the minute I was born, my mother said there will not be two Vernons in this house. He will be known as Alexander or Alex.
Sounds like a historic moment when she said that.
It was it was because they had two girls before me, so they had two daughters, and my mother and father went through some rocky times, right? So with that being in mind, I think maybe my mother was already laying down the groundwork of like, look, there's already one Vernon in this house causing trouble.
All right.
He's going to be Alex. He's going to be Alexander. So that was like, no one has ever called me Vernon. It's my legal name. It's on my bank accounts. It's on this and that. But everybody in the world knows me as Alex or Alexander, right? So it's just one of those things. So Cole, I'll tell you the history of his name. He was born in the same hospital that my wife and I were born in, which is Beth Israel in Manhattan, which is interesting already, right? That's already sort of weird that all three of us are born in the same hospital. We're not in a small town, right? And when Catherine, that's my wife's name, when she was born, they didn't realize they were having twins. So she's a twin sister, and she has a sister named Anita. So when her parents had her, they were like, we didn't even have a name. What are we doing? Because back then
they didn't know.
They didn't know until birth.
Oh, wow.
Because she had a C-section. She had to go early. They did not know. Can you believe this? I mean, that's not that long ago.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised, right?
How long ago was that?
She's 48 now.
Okay.
So it seems like they should have known. I would have thought they would have known, right?
I think it was like kicking on two sides.
At least this is their story. Maybe they did know.
Yeah.
I don't really know. So full disclosure, my wife is Chinese. So they were in Chinatown, and they were like, what are we going to name this other kid? What are we going to do? And they passed Catherine Street, and they were like, we'll choose Catherine. So they just named her that, right?
And her sister's name is?
Anita.
All
right. So
they go nice together.
They go very nicely together. Very British proper names, right? Yeah. But my son was named Cole because I also live on 9th and Cole Street.
Oh, so you did what her parents did.
We kept a little history going on
Got
right?
it.
So while my father named me after him, I kind of...
You were looking out the window. You were like, what should I name this kid?
I don't know.
And then you saw the green sign.
I was like, oh, well, we
Cole.
We go down to Ed and Mary's a lot. Maybe we should just name him Cole. So I think it's a cool name.
Yeah, sure.
He's got a Chinese middle name, which is kind of cool. He's called Mun Ho. And there was
Munhole, Hamilton.
Yeah, it was Cole
It's got a
Munhole,
cool
Hamilton.
name.
It is cool. It is cool. However, in the beginning, they wanted to spell it sort of very strange. They so on the birth certificate they would put MANHO, and I said, stop. I'm not raising a manho. Change it to Munho. Change it to MUN, not MAN, because Munho sounds cool, right? Manho has some connotations to it. So we had that changed.
They're gonna get him in school for that, for sure, 100%.
If anyone finds out.
He would really be pissed.
Oh, he would really be like, he doesn't even call himself by his middle name much anymore.
Okay. Were you guys living here when he was born?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I've lived in the same apartment on 9th Street for about 23 years now.
Oh, wow.
I can't believe that.
23 years.
I can't believe
I'm surprised I haven't met you
before
23 years ago.
I don't know. It's weird, right?
Yeah, because I was doing a lot of work in the whole Hamilton Park area when I started in Jersey City.
Because I was originally on the Hamilton Park Conservancy years ago.
Okay.
They have that little board that kind of oversees just the park. That's all they see. So we used to raise money for plantings and things like that. And so I'm surprised our paths didn't cross.
I started the whole Jersey City career in the 8th Street area.
Oh, really?
So we did all those little brownstones and
because even before that, I was on 5th Street.
Yeah.
And the first time I ever moved to Jersey City, and I didn't know this until I spoke to Paul Silverman, I moved into his first building ever that he did, and that's that old schoolhouse on 1st Street.
Oh yes.
I don't even remember I think it's 251 1st Street.
It's like the Boniface.
It used to be. It was next to the church, right?
Yeah, and I did the church.
You did the church, and he did the building. That was his first building ever in Jersey City. So when I met him, I told him that. He was like, "Oh my God, that was the first building that I ever did."
You were renting, obviously.
It was all rentals. Yeah.
It still is.
Nice apartment though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And I was only like 21 or something back then. So we had like this swanky loft with a deck over, and back then you could actually see the city from there.
Right.
Before they put up another city in front of it.
Yeah. Remember then there was no waterfront.
There was no waterfront.
Amazing.
Well, it was
a couple of buildings.
Newport, but not modern builds.
Yeah, there was just those 2 buildings you would see from the Holland Tunnel. There was a big sign on there that said if you live here by now,
you'd be home already.
You'd be home already.
Yeah, exactly. I've had that. Is that still up?
No.
It's not still up.
It's not still up.
They didn't really?
Yeah, now it's ingrained in your head when you're in traffic. You're like, if I lived here.
I wish I lived here, right? I wish I lived here. So, yeah.
So where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Manhattan. I grew up in Chelsea. My mother still lives in the same apartment as when, I guess we moved there when I was 7 years old.
No.
We were born in the projects on 26 between 8th and 9th Avenues.
So what was that like? In what year? When you were born?
God, 1967.
Yeah, what was that like back then?
That was an experience. New York housing was definitely an experience. Yeah. Public school was an experience. And I can remember my mother saying things to me, because in the neighborhood, there weren't always the best people that didn't have everyone's best interests. Let's just put it that way at heart, right? So my mother used to tell me, like, don't make too many friends here. We're not going to be staying here. And she was determined to get us out. So full disclosure, my parents were divorced by the time I was 4 years old. So my father had left. Still have a very good relationship with my father. He didn't abandon us or anything. Saw him every weekend, split, custody and all that stuff. But the fact of the matter is, it was mom and 3 kids in the projects. And that was tough.
Sure.
That was tough. So she was determined to get us out of there. She went to night school. She became a registered nurse, did that for 40 years of her career, and did get us out. And we lived in Penn South. We lived in the red buildings right across the street, which was great. Except for one thing. I had to still stay in the same school. So my mom said, don't make too many friends here because we're leaving. And then I leave. And then I have to go to public school every day. And, the local kids didn't really like the fact that we had gotten out. Right. And let's just say there was a lot of animosity, fights. And I had to beg to be transferred out because all the kids still knew me. And they were like, oh, what, you too good for us now? And I'm like, I never said that. My family moved. We're still good. Are you sure we're still good?
Yeah.
And I'm like 6. So there's all this kinds of stuff going on. So eventually I transferred out of that school, but that's where we grew up.
So you had a pretty tough upbringing. I mean, to a certain point, right?
Yeah. I mean, I had 2 great parents. That's the main thing, is you can get through all that stuff. I had 2 great parents. I had a great grandmother who helped out a lot and really made a big difference in my life. But obviously, it's not the straight and narrow path that everyone can necessarily be on. But hey, I'm where I am now because of it too. It's also made me a stronger person.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Which helps. I think helps.
So you were there until your teenage years, like living in that
In that neighborhood?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
neighborhood.
So I lived on 8th Avenue and 27th Street until I was about 18 years old. And, you know, a lot was going on then. I wasn't really getting on with my mother. I wasn't the best student in school, all the sort of teenage stuff that goes on, all the outside influences from New York, friends. There were too many things to do. And I kind of got sucked into that hole. I had my band. I was like, I could do anything. I could do anything. Well, you realize as you get older, it's hard. It's hard when you're on your own. And your parents say, okay, fine, well, go try to do it. And you realize that you're not necessarily going to get the support from them because, you know, my father wanted me to stay in college. My mother wanted me to stay in college. I had other plans. I know what I'm doing. I'm good.
Yeah.
And eventually moved out. My first apartment was actually in Hoboken with my high school sweetheart. We were together.
And when did you move out?
19 years old.
Oh, really? That early?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You really wanted to get out.
Oh yeah, we really wanted to get out. So
Why?
I think we had created such an unhealthy codependency because she wasn't happy with her parents and I wasn't happy with my parents, and we turned it into the, you know, us against the world thing. And when you're young, you do things like that, right? So basically, we rented an apartment in Hoboken. It was I guess it was really just a studio.
This was with your girlfriend at the time?
Yeah, my high school sweetheart.
Oh, okay.
We were together for 10 years, from 17 to 27.
Wow.
And that's crazy because by the time 10 years goes by and you're 27, you're not the same person at all.
Absolutely.
There's no way. So as much as we tried to stick together, we grew apart. And it was natural. You know, I'm not saying it's not possible to be with someone forever. I'm not saying it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? So we just kind of grew apart. And then I went through my stage of really trying to find myself and get myself together and say, I got to pull myself together. And luckily, I guess about 5 years after that, is it 5 years after that? How long have I been with my wife? Not quite 5 years, maybe like 7 years after that, I met Catherine.
Okay. After you broke up with...
Yeah, I mean, I had 7 years in between of doing a lot of things, getting back into my music.
Were you still in Hoboken at the time?
No, I had already moved to Jersey City. Actually, I was actually in the area I told you about before. I was at 251 First Street.
By yourself?
Yes, she moved out. I kept the apartment.
Got it.
I was like, well, I'm going to stay here and blah, blah, blah. And then I realized
The rent is good.
The rent was good, but it wasn't good enough because, again, unhealthy codependency, finances are sometimes part of that, right? So I had to leave eventually. I just moved down to Wayne Street. So it wasn't I didn't have a far move. You know, I found a one bedroom over there. It was all good. It was good. But it gave me an opportunity to really find myself. And I sort of started my band back again, called the guys again. We had this interest. A couple of people dropped out here or there. Long story short, we wound up getting a record deal. We're told we got to go to Canada. We got to record a record.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, this is what we've always wanted. Why wouldn't we do this, right? Went up there, recorded, toured Canada, did a lot, got a lot of experience out of that. It was great. It was one of the best times of my life. I loved it. I would never trade it in for anything again. But all the while, I'm also thinking about the future and where is this going? How am I going to really plant solid roots somewhere and do something that I need to do?
Right.
Because when I had my band, I was working for a restaurant company and I had been promoted I was a buyer at that point. And this company had like 25, 30 restaurants in New York. So I had a pretty good position and I could go out and eat in all these places and for free. It was really, really nice. So I was whining and dining people, you know, all dating and the whole thing. And
So
I was single.
what exactly were you doing in the restaurant business?
I was a buyer. So I was a purveyor of whatever had to be served in the restaurants. At the time, I was actually in charge of, I think, meats and dairy. So I had to go out and seafood.
Gotcha.
So there'd be like trips to like the
you're
South
like
Street
procuring
Seaport
all the
Market.
food.
Yeah, procuring all the food
God.
and getting yelled at by the chefs if it wasn't good enough, and which is good. And I told them that, right? But
So you had to like go out and pick stuff.
yeah, and you had to go out and meet them. And
Meet who?
Meet the chefs. Sorry.
Got it.
Yeah, you had to meet the chefs, and they would like always want to go over budget, change things around a little bit. So you had to kind of reel that in. But it wound up being a very good learning experience for me. But then the band thing came up, and I couldn't turn it down. And I told my boss, I was like, I got to do this. I got to do it. Right. So
the band thing, like they wanted to tour and
yeah,
do
the
those
whole
sorts of
thing.
things?
I said, I got an opportunity to record an album and tour. I'm happy here, but like this is kind of a once in a lifetime thing.
What kind of band was it?
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll?
It was rock and roll, man. I mean, heavy Zeppelin influence, all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
really?
Yeah. We were rocking out, man. I had longer hair. It was crazy.
Really?
Dreads, the whole thing. Yeah, man.
I'd like to see a picture of that.
I'll get you one. Definitely get you one. Those are the younger
We need
days.
a picture of that.
I'll have to find that for you.
Because I'm
Ben,
trying
absolutely.
to picture it and I can't.
Yeah, I mean, my wife now says like, I'm so glad I didn't meet you then. Because she doesn't like long hair guys. So that's just her thing.
That's funny.
So I was like, it's cool. But yeah, it was definitely
That's cool.
dreads to my shoulder, at least something like that.
And you did the band for how long?
A year and a half.
Okay, so it was a pretty short period.
Yeah, it wasn't that
Yeah.
long. I mean, we recorded the album, we toured, it kind of fizzled, right? And I was like, well, listen, I kind of got to live my dream. Where am I going now?
Right.
What's my next thing? How do I make this happen, right? Which then led me to, and I've always been a tech person, right? That was why I went to, with the high school that I went to was heavily involved in tech. And I got together with a couple of friends, one of them that was in the band, actually, interestingly enough. And we formed a company called Vipeline. And we had invented something. And I think we talked about this a little bit before.
Vipeline was a tech company.
It was a tech company that was a multimedia company, basically.
So is it a computer tech company?
Specialized
or is it just
in video.
Okay.
In video, right? And so what we did was actually invented something where you could actually record a video straight to HTML without an app, right? Which is cool because was starting to get app fatigue at some point, right? So we were able to sell the concept, but we kept the patent, which is very important.
So explain that some more. How it works, the tech?
So the tech is simple. Imagine you're on a web page somewhere and you're on your phone or you're on your computer, whatever it is, right? And you want to leave a video. They say, yo, you can leave a video comment, right? So you press a button and it asks you permission, like, can we use your microphone and your camera, right?
Yes.
And that comes on. You leave your video, limited to 30 seconds only because we didn't want a whole soliloquy from people, right? And then you would say you're satisfied with your video. Yes. You'd submit it and it would upload directly to the site unless they had in the background the ability to check the video first, which we had. That was part of the software, was they could check it frame by frame to make sure no one was doing anything indecent or saying anything improper, and then they could post it directly up there. But the whole point was to get people away from apps, right? Because everyone's on HTML sites. Every single thing uses that kind of code. Even apps use it, right? So the patent that we got was the ability to record video directly to an HTML environment without requiring an app.
Got it.
So somehow we put that patent in and we were like, there's no way we're going to get this. There's no way we're going to get this. We fought and fought and fought and fought.
That was a lot of work, right?
It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work. It took 5 years to get it.
Wow, that's a lot of
5 years to get it. It's a long time, very long time. So we're in the process of trying to see what we can do with that now. I always said we'd wait till the pandemic is over because obviously we know video calling and all that stuff got really big then. So let's ride this out. Probably started a little bit too late. Should have done this 2 years ago, but that's okay. And we want to see if we can do something with this patent now.
Sure.
It's very interesting, right? Because everyone's doing this. I mean, HTML apps are still HTML, right? So the patent applies to every single thing that we do. So that's why I say every time you see that thing that says, can we use your microphone and camera? That's what we got the actual patent for, which is nuts. So that's what we're working on now.
Yeah. Sounds like you need like a patent attorney to
just text them
figure
this
it out,
morning.
right? Yeah.
They're already texting this morning. They've already checked into possible violators and all kinds of
Violators,
things.
licensing.
All
right?
that stuff.
All that good. Yeah, you got to go on Shark Tank.
Yeah. Well, and sell the patent there, right? Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Be a good idea.
That's cool. So does that tech company do anything else?
I don't know because I don't own it anymore.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not involved in that anymore. I'm strictly on the patent side. But no.
So you're just involved in that particular project in that company?
Well, the company doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't
That was
exist.
sold. We sold that already. This is just a group of individuals from that company
that own
who
the patent.
still own the patent.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
What about the music? Are you doing anything else with the music today?
I wish I was. I do independent stuff. I do my own stuff. You know, my wife is basically always says, you know, you're recording the greatest album no one's ever going to hear. And I'm like, well, I have to appease myself first because I know that if I don't do this, I lose part of myself. Music is just always going to be part of my soul and I have to have the ability to do it. I mean, there's times where there's studios here in Jersey City and I'll just rent time and go play drums for 2 hours because I have to, because I can't play drums at home, right? I can noodle around on a guitar, I can sing. I can't set my drums up in my apartment and just start playing. So periodically I'll just go.
And is that what you did on the band? You were the drums?
I was the drums. I was the drums and vocal. Yeah, in the band. Yeah, not lead vocal, backup vocal. Yeah.
Cool.
It's a lot of work, man.
Yeah,
It was good times.
I could imagine.
It's good times. Really good times.
Yeah, if we could only rewind the clock, right?
Yeah, I could have changed a lot of things, but that's not. But also, I wouldn't be where I was if I didn't do what I did. And I think that's important. Is like you can always look back at your journey and say maybe I should have gone left or right, but you're also where you are because you did that.
Absolutely,
right? You learn from everything.
It shapes who you are.
Of course.
Yeah, I had my DJ days.
Oh, what about that?
I had my DJ days. So
that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Where were you doing that?
I did that for a while. I did a bunch of colleges. I did some nightclubs in New York, Jersey. But I was spinning vinyl.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Okay, before they went to all this digital stuff, right?
Yeah, it was before they did all the
real stuff.
Yeah, so I had the whole setup.
Nice.
I got rid of everything when I had kids because I was so attached to it.
Right.
I mean, I had and I still do. I have a love for music.
Right.
But when I had the kids, it was just like, the situation where you just felt like, I wanted to get away and play with the vinyl.
Right.
So I just had to let it go.
I
just felt like it was holding me back. And it's kind of a weird feeling.
I know what you mean. I mean, I still have...
And the minute I let it go, then things just started to change and, everything with the kids and career,
really?
It was weird. Like you let go of something and then
you grasp onto something
exactly.
else.
Like you just this weight gets lifted.
That's pretty cool.
Even though it's something you love, it's like a sacrifice, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like in the future I may
you can always come back
into it.
You can always come back to it. Because what I did was when I bought my second bedroom on Hamilton Park, my two bedroom on Hamilton Park, the second bedroom was always like a faux studio that I could go in, set up, record some stuff real quick. Obviously, it wasn't drums, but it was like guitar and bass and stuff like that, right? And I used to hang the instruments on the wall. And when my son was born, my wife was like, well, you can take that stuff down, right? And I said, you know what? I'm not going to take it down. And she goes, what do you mean? This is about him now. And I said, it is, but I want him to know about that stuff. And I want him to see it. Because I want him to be excited about that. He would be excited when I would play to him. He would always go in and even as a baby, he would just walk into his room and just point to his guitar or one of my guitars and say, please, can you, before he can even speak, he would ask me to play. And I said, I want him to grow up with that. I want him to grow up musically inclined, not afraid of it, not afraid to ask, what is that? What does that do? Because music is so much a part of me. So it's still there.
Yeah.
He's 14 years old and I have 3 guitars and a bass hanging on his wall.
And you play at him sometimes for him?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Does he play?
He's funny. He's like, Dad, I like watching you play. Okay. I've tried to take him to studios and get him to play drums too. And he's like, nah, I'll show him stuff and be like, that's great, but I want to hear you play. And I'm like, okay. I said, I'd love it if you just, banged out a few bars or something. Let's just see what we can do. But he's very much he's like, nah, I just like hearing you play. Maybe because that's how we grew up. I don't know.
Maybe.
That's all his mind.
I'm sure he's got other talents that
he's got a lot of other talents. Yeah, he's got the memory of an elephant, which is crazy. So I think he's going to be a coder.
Yeah, everybody's got their thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You got your music. He's got
not a musician. That's fine. He appreciates music, but he's not a musician, which is fine. It's all good.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really good.
With the music, you feel like besides, going into it once in a while just for let's say a hobby, do you ever see yourself getting into a career with it again at some point?
Probably not at this age. No. I mean, that's, you see how the words didn't even want to come out of my mouth, right? Yeah, but they did. They have to, because I got to be realistic about what I can do.
So you just do it to kind of
I do it because I have to do it.
Yeah.
Right? I do it because it's almost like working out. This is the way I look at it. It's like working out. It's good for you. You should do it all the time. But I'm not training for the triathlon tomorrow, right? I'm not going to be in the Olympics. I know those days are past, and that's fine. And I used to be a pretty good athlete. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't still exercise. Music is kind of the same thing. It makes me exercise my mind, express myself. I think I've written a couple of really good songs over the past years. Past couple of years, I've written, some that I listen to and I go, wow, that has a lot of meaning to me.
Yep.
And then I'll play them for other people and they'll be like, wow, that I totally get that song. I really like that and appreciate that. So if I can still have that effect, then it's fine.
And it's also helped you get in front of audiences, like you were saying before, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I have no fear of talking and doing things.
It's all because of that performance you've had to put up on stage.
I mean, I had to play in front of I guess the biggest arena we played in Canada was 10,000 people or something.
Oh, wow, that's good. Yeah.
So I don't have a fear of that. It's a matter of just getting up and expressing yourself and being who you are. And I looked at drums and instruments the same way. It's the way of expressing who you are. Just get up there and be you. Because that's why people are here. They're here to see that. They're not here to see you not be you.
Absolutely.
Right? They know who you are. They know the songs they want to hear. Go do that.
So what about the restaurant business? Do you still dabble in that, or?
I'd love to open like a little bar one day. Yeah,
Don't do it, man.
No, don't. That's
Don't
what everyone
do it.
says is don't do it. Did you try one time, Ben?
White Eagle Hall.
Oh, right. Yeah.
White Eagle Hall.
Yeah.
I mean, that's with music.
Right. Right.
Because of the love of music that I've had, right? So, and
You guys
theater.
did a great job. It's beautiful in there.
Yeah, but we ran it as real estate developers. We were running it for 3 years. So we were doing the real estate business and
Booking gigs and
the
everything.
bar,
Right?
restaurant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like a restaurant too, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
music, bar, theater. So it was like real estate by day, club
That's
by
so
night.
hard to do that. Though. I mean, you got to do that just on its own, right? I mean, how can
Just
you?
crazy. And then you have 2 kids on top of it. So
it's
it's
a lot.
around the clock.
That's a lot. Well, I'm talking about like owning a bar and like retiring. Like that would be what I do.
Okay, well, I could see that.
You know,
like something small where you just like
like that's just
you
don't
meet people, you hang out.
you don't
right?
require a huge oversight or things like that. Like for example, shout out to Ed and Mary's on 9th and Coles, which is the bar that I told you about.
Yeah.
But like Ed and Mary are real people and they're in their own bar all the time and I love them. They're great people, right? The other night I was there for karaoke night and Ed still DJs the karaoke night for people. Cues up the songs, gets them ready, does the sign up list.
You do karaoke?
I sang that night. Yeah, I had to. If I was there, I was there with people like, come on, you got to get up and sing. I was like, all right, I'll get up and sing. So I got up and sang. It was ridiculous. But it's a lot of fun. But like that kind of thing where you can just like immerse yourself in the joy of doing it. Mm-hmm. And hopefully it's financially sound and solvent, like you're
not
saying,
only for the money, but really for the joy.
Yeah. Like seeing the people, being the neighborhood person, like that. I would love to have the opportunity to do that. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I'll ever get the opportunity to do that. You know, maybe have some live music in the back or something, something simple. People could show up and play acoustic guitar, maybe a little set or something. I think that would be really, I'd love that. And that would sort of make me feel like I'm still kind of doing all these things. I'm still kind of in the restaurant business. I'm still kind of in the music business. You know, I'm still in the community business. Like it's
almost like capture everything you've been through in your life in one spot.
In one spot.
Right.
And just have fun with it.
Sure.
And hopefully, like we said, it's financially solvent and
Will you hire me to DJ?
We would have a DJ night. We'd have to.
Okay. I'm in.
We would absolutely have to. Don't forget to come on Wednesday and see Ben. We'd have to do something.
I'm in.
Absolutely. That would be really fun.
So, but what are you doing today, like for a living?
That's a good question because that's the question my wife asks me too. What are you doing right now for a living? What are you doing right now for a living? So,
I mean, the question is, what it's out there. So it's
right. So I left my previous position, which was in recruitment on the tech side. I'm no longer affiliated with that company, and that ended on whatever terms it ended on. And I sort of am going through this like, what is it that I want to do phase? Because when you get older, like I'm not going to take the job that I don't want. Right? I'm just not. I am running for Wardie Council, as we know, which is kind of a full-time job because there's a lot going on every single day. There's always something to do. There's always people to visit. There's always people to talk to. And you've got to be out there doing this stuff, right? So between that, selling my patent, working on a lawsuit that I have, my day is really busy as it is, incredibly. Like, I would have thought that may not be as busy as it is, but it's really busy.
So you have a lot of time that you can dedicate to this council thing.
Absolutely.
Do, right?
That's kind of, and
which is great.
I made that decision. I said, if I start a job now, if I go out and I get a new job right now, I'm going to have to immerse myself in that job. And that's going to take away a lot of my time. It's going to take time away from what I could do for the campaign. It's probably going to take time away from my family. I don't know that I have that many hours in a day. I need like a 36-hour day to actually be able to do all these things. Right. So for now, let's just say I'm not really looking. If something comes my way, then I think that'd be great. But right now, I really want to concentrate on this election, getting elected, letting people know who I am, making sure that they understand the issues that are out there, hear their issues and concerns, and try to work towards a better solution.
Yeah. So what made you make that decision? I'm very curious. Like, what makes a person say, I want to run for council?
I want to run. Okay, that's a good question. So a lot of people probably know this, but I already served in the school board, which is a 3-year term. A lot of hard work there. You can get some stuff done, but you're one of 9. And it's hard to really get things through. Now, city council is the same thing.
Board of Education?
Board of Education of Jersey City.
Okay.
Yes. I sat on that board for 3 years. I think I was successful in a lot of things that I did and the way I felt. And again, my model is always never make enemies, right? I'm friends with everybody still there. I can call anybody on the phone tomorrow and go out to lunch with them, because just because we don't always agree doesn't mean we don't have to work together towards solutions. And keep those relationships, because you know what? You're going to need those people in the future, and they're going to need you. Keep those avenues open, right? So what made me want to run for city council was really sort of, I still had the bug from serving on the school board. I'm currently the president of my condo board. I also sit on the rent leveling board for Jersey City. That was something that Mayor Fulop asked me to do. So I'm sort of entrenched in this, like, I want to help make a difference in the communities that I live in, or even that I don't live in. And that's something that I tell everybody about me running for Ward E, is I might be representing Ward E if I win, but I'm voting for the entire city on issues. It's not like I just get to vote on what goes on in Ward E, right? While I may represent everyone down here and everyone down here votes for me, I'm still voting for issues that are going to affect people in A through F as far as our wards go, right?
Sure.
So it's something that I take very seriously. And I think, getting back to your question, Ben, what made me want to do this is when I was on the school board, you're really an at-large candidate, because there's schools in every single district, right? And you've got to go to every single one of them and represent them. And I've seen a lot of disparity and inequity in the school systems throughout the city. And I know that there's inequity in other things as well in the city. And I'd like to see that change more so than it has. I don't want this mantra to be Tale of Two Cities in Jersey City. I think what we've done in downtown is incredible. The growth that I've seen since I've lived is incredible. But there are other areas that we need to get on the right track and help people and change education and, you know, just really make a difference in people's lives so they can build up their community and be more self-sufficient and self-standing, because that's what they want, right? They want to be able to own their own stores and, you know, own their own homes, hopefully, or at least be paying rents that they can afford in better buildings and better conditions, and have a better opportunity for their kids in these schools that we have. It's important. And I see all these things as being cyclical. You know, I think the city needs to do a good job of working with the Board of Ed too.
With education, like the Board of Education, you talk about disparities. Like, why so many disparities, you think, in this particular city? Like, where is that coming from? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big apple to bite into.
Look, man, that's what we're here,
that's why we're here, right? That's what we're here for. Okay, well, if we're going to talk about it, let's talk about it. I think certain communities don't have some opportunities that others do. I think there are a lot of single parents out there that can't give their kids the same amount of time as, you know, a married couple can give their children. I think there are more programs in certain schools than there are in other schools, as in after school or sports or whatever it may be, where kids can actually participate, feel like they've got a home. And I think that's also part of the problem too, is that the schools in some of the other places are not in really good condition. You know, we talked about PS5, we talked about PS37.
Just the buildings themselves,
just the buildings themselves. Both of those buildings say the same things on them, 1923. And these are not the worst schools in the city. So there are schools that are older, in worse neighborhoods, that should really be sanctuaries for their kids, and they're not. And I think that when you have an environment that's not conducive to learning, this is something that I said over and over again on the Board of Ed, how are you going to learn if you don't have that environment, right? How are teachers going to teach, right? If we're in an office somewhere and the roof is leaking and that power outlet doesn't work and you can't sit at that desk and don't go to that corner of the room because the floor is messed up, you can't think about like the lesson that day or what's going on. You're thinking about keeping your kids safe. You're thinking about how do you just get through the day. And I think we need to do a better job of making sure that those kids are environments that they are and have a chance to have conducive to learning. Because we went through this thing where we had trailers in Jersey City, and some schools still do. And shout out to Gina Vertibello, because she was actually she got rid of a lot of those trailers. She fought to get rid of a lot of those trailers, and she was able to do that. So shout out to her. But like, can you imagine learning in a trailer? Like that's a classroom? How is that even acceptable?
Environment is a huge thing.
It's
just the kids being able to like go to a decent place where like when you go there, you feel good. You know,
like, wow, the gym is in good condition and the library is in good condition.
Absolutely.
Important,
and I mean, not just for schools, right? But your work environment, right?
Everywhere.
You know, wherever you go.
Everywhere.
You know, we do, when we were doing, well, we do real estate development, right?
Right.
And we always make sure that the job sites are always clean and organized because we realize that when they're messy, there's more. It's more of a likelihood to have accidents.
Right?
And things happen. The guys can't concentrate.
Right.
They can't do things right.
Yeah.
So just having a good environment for the kids to go to is such a huge thing.
Yeah, and I think that we don't have that enough. Again, like I said, I know my kids' school the best because I'm in that school all the time. But like the auditorium's like in terrible disrepair.
Yep.
Right. Well, if you want parents to attend events there and you want kids to attend functions that happen in an auditorium, that's where the whole school comes together. Right. And now you've got a dysfunctional situation there. You almost can't. It's hard to be a principal in those situations because you want to bring everyone together, but you don't have the facilities to do that. So I think that's something that we need to really, really look at for our kids all over the city. And that's something that I want to try to work with through city government, establish a better relationship with the Board of Ed, just to make sure we're on the same page because there's been a lot of that where we have not been in the past. And I want to make sure that we can get that where it needs to be. And I think I can help with that because like I said, I still have friends there. I still have people that I know I can pick up the phone and talk to reasonably and have real conversations about, can we get something done here?
Yeah.
Can we do something about this?
Yeah. And Jersey City's a very unique place because not only are we dealing with people who have been here for a while, so you're dealing with the original Jersey City people, but then there's all the immigrants that come from all over the world. Those students need.
They have different needs.
Yeah, they have different social needs that I'm sure is absorbing a lot of that budget.
Absolutely. And that happens everywhere across the country, right? Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't anything new, but like, what are we doing about that? Like, how are we?
Yeah, there's many cities that are dealing with that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And Jersey City has that in common with those places.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. It's really, that's where it gets really hard because again, we are the most diverse city in the country. I suppose that's what stats say, right? So proportionally, we're dealing with it more than anyone.
Right.
So we really need to find a way to get a hold of a situation like that and make sure that the kids feel welcome, they're okay, the parents can trust the situation. I can't even imagine just coming to this country and dropping your kid off at one of these schools that looks like it's going to like fall down tomorrow. And then you got to go to work. It's like, okay, good luck getting through your day.
Hope the roof doesn't fall.
Yeah, like that should not be in our situation.
Where do you begin? Like, where do you begin to take that apart and try to figure out what the solutions are?
I think part of the solution, well, let's go to the problem. How about we go?
Please,
what I think the problem might be is that we talk about what the school budget is, but I think a lot of it has to do with the state's pulled back a lot of the money. Right. And they're no longer giving us the aid. And I don't think the state is actually helping with a lot of this infrastructure repair either. So when we talk about why is the budget so high for schools, well, when your buildings are on average 90 years old or whatever it is, you know how it's much more expensive to maintain a building like that than to build a new one. Right. And we haven't built new schools in a while. So if the state's not going to help pay for those, absolute things that we need to repair as far as infrastructure goes, how's the Board of Ed going to get ahead on those things? They're not. They're going to be a constant state of, whack-a-mole. Fix this breaks, fix that. Oh, that's broken again. It's constant.
Right.
And I've seen it. It's constant. And I don't know that there's really a way around that right now. But I think we have to work closely with the superintendent of schools, maintenance, figure out if we can get on a schedule and really hold New Jersey State accountable for, hey, we're not getting what we need for this. And this is really a detriment to our kids.
Some buildings are beyond maintenance.
Some buildings are beyond
maintenance. they have expirations. There's only so long buildings can live.
Correct.
So if you're talking about a building has the sign on it says 1923, that's more than 100 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, that building is done. It's time for like a complete gut.
Right. Can you really upgrade the facilities?
I can't even think about, upgrading it, or you need a complete gut. You have to either gut it out or build a new building.
I'll give you an example.
And repurpose the building or something.
Something. You can keep the shell or something, whatever it is.
Right.
But I'll give you a good example of that, Ben, because I can tell you exactly why I ran for school board. That's an easy one for me. Back at PS 37, there was no air conditioning in the buildings, right? Which is a lot of schools. I don't think PS 5 still has air conditioning.
Really?
So.
Well, they probably have the window units. Those little.
No.
Not even that?
I think maybe some windows. So that's what we did at 37. So the parents got together and they said, can we raise money? Since there's no money for this, can we raise money to buy these air conditioners? And this is before I was on the board, right? And the district said, yes, you can absolutely do that. So we raised $40,000, $50,000. They bought all these air conditioners from, I think, Best Buy. They had some deal, right? They get them shipped into the building. They're in the building, physically in PS37. And we're told, we don't have the electric to support this.
Oh, no.
And we were like, I'm sorry, excuse me.
That's what I'm talking about.
Excuse
you can't
me.
even,
Right. So I said, wait a minute. You guys totally duped us on this then. You said we could do this. No one checked this out first. We now spent this money. We bought this money. We bought these air conditioners, and they're now stored under the stairwell. And I had to look at them and I said, that's it.
Wow.
I said, if they're running this kind of issue like this is a direct ask from the parents. What else is going on over there? So at that point, I was just very angry. I was like, the classic, like, oh, I'm going to be the angry parent who gets in there and shows them what to do.
After all that effort,
yeah, exactly.
You should be angry.
It was crazy, right?
Yeah.
So literally, I was there for 3 years. In my third year, they finally put them in. They had to send electricians. They had to rewire the entire building, provide more amps, obviously, and all that sort of stuff. They did it in my third year. It took me 2 years to get that done.
They probably had to spend another $50,000.
Oh, yeah. Oh, easily. I'm sure. I mean, probably more, if I remember correct. Right? So those kinds of things make me crazy because parents were fed up with getting the whole, hey, it's hot. We're going to dismiss your kids at 12 o'clock today. I'm at work. I got a 2 o'clock meeting. I can't leave. Well, your kid has to get out at 12. So you got to figure out how to come get him because it's going to be 98 degrees later. We have new air conditioning. It's too hot. It's inhumane. You now need to leave your job.
Wow.
And that's still going on in other schools. There's other schools that are fighting to get air conditioners put in there and the same thing. But imagine this though, Ben. This was downtown. Parents were able to raise that money. There are neighborhoods that don't have that kind of money to say, I'm going to donate $400 to put it. I have that kind of money. Right. So what are they going to do? They're just going to have no air conditioning.
Yeah.
So that, again, that was the kind of thing that made me really say, if this is what's going on an issue that to me is low hanging fruit, yeah, go ahead, go get
there are ways to, I mean, as you're talking, I'm thinking about many ways you can raise money for these schools, right? You have all this development happening in Jersey City, right?
Yes.
Developers are screaming for pilots, for example, right? Listen, give a guy a pilot and make them pay for the rehab of the school.
You got to do the give back.
Right?
Hey, fix the auditorium. We'll help you out. Like stuff like that.
It's that simple.
You kind of find easy ways to do this.
Yeah, you can trade, trade. But I mean, look, I'm going to say it because we have editing skills here.
Yeah, please say what you got to say.
So I'm just going to say what I got to say, right?
Yeah.
Instead of taking campaign contributions, trading for the people of the city.
Making
not you, but I'm saying that's what's going on today, right?
Because that's what should that's what should happen in lieu of.
Right, exactly. Not take campaign contributions,
right,
to run for higher office.
Are used for you only and you only. Instead, make a deal and say, hey, look, we got to do something for these kids. These PS5. I'm gonna go when I go outside. I'm gonna look for air conditioners in the window. I don't think there's any there. I think that's one of the schools that still doesn't have any.
Right.
But we could do this everywhere.
You can do it everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yep.
And it's easy to do. These are the things I don't understand. This is what I call, and again, I'm still debating what I want to call my podcast, but one feature I want to call in there is going to be called like low hanging fruit. And it's going to be like, here's easy stuff to solve.
Right.
Look at these problems and here are some solutions real quick. Why is it still a problem?
Yeah.
Right. To me, that's low hanging fruit. You can definitely make it so that you can fix these problems.
I think these problems stem from just people thinking of themselves and not the public. That's all it is. There's some greed.
Always.
Right? You just have to have people thinking of people.
Yeah.
That's it.
I agree. And I think
the solutions are there. If you have the goal in your mind that you want to help people, you'll find a way. There's always a way.
There's always a way.
Yeah. But if you're thinking about your pockets or yourself, there's a way, but there's a way for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's never
and then everyone else suffers around you.
Right.
And that's what's happening.
Right. And I think, you brought up a very good point, Ben, about the developer thing. And this is something I've said to you before, in that, I think developers get a really bad name about a lot of stuff that goes on because I don't think people really understand what developers do, what they're capable of doing, and then also, like you said, what they're being asked to do. Because if they're not going to be asked to do something, that's not on them to say, well, I'll also build you a park and I'll do all this and I'll do that. That's where the city has to come in and say, hey, let's work on this together. You've got to make partnerships and say, we have a problem. How can you help us?
Right.
Because I tell everyone this all the time. The city doesn't have a building department. If someone wants to find one for me, let me know. They're not putting any buildings up. They're not making the kind of repairs that are going to make a difference along those lines, right? So you have to work with developers who are willing to do that, that are understanding what the need and the value is. But then, like I said, developers need to then let people know that they did that.
Right.
Because that's very important, because people are always like, oh, they just take and they just do this and they just do that. And I'm not saying some don't. But what I am saying is that's where city officials have to come in to say, hey, we're going to regulate this, but we're going to do this together. And we're going to make this a good situation and a good investment for you. And we're going to make this a good situation for the community, because there's absolutely a way to do that.
Right.
That's not hard.
Yeah. And I don't think developers know that they can, because they're not asked, or they are asked for other things.
To do something else. Exactly.
And really they're put up against the corner, and that's the only thing they can do.
Right.
And then at the end, it makes them look bad because they did certain things for certain people.
Right.
They didn't know they had another choice.
Right. Exactly.
To do it,
And there are ways of doing that. I mean, it's really not hard. And this is why I kind of want, should I get elected, I think the Board of Ed should be included in those meetings. And they never were. They were never included in the whole step of like, well, the city's going to do this with these developers. Okay, thank you. And then the Board of Ed's like, well, we didn't even discuss like how that's going to affect the neighborhood or schools, or like what are we doing about this? Because the state's not helping. Now, I know that there was an annex built downtown that we actually got done. But that annex was for...
That's in the development, the house development,
Yes,
right?
yeah, exactly, house. That's on Christopher Columbus, and I don't remember the cross street, but yeah, downtown. And that they built it because the pre-K and K population was so large, we were busing kids out, especially for PS16. So they wanted to put up another building over there for that, to house those kids. That's great, but that gets those kids to first grade. And it's a 2-story building. So like it serves its purpose, but we have to find other ways.
That's only first grade?
I think it's just pre-K and K.
That's
it. It's only 2 floors.
Okay.
Right. So it's a small building that they put up, but that was part of whatever the city worked with. And that was the first time I think that the actual the Board of Ed wasn't brought in, but at least the actual city school system was brought in with that deal in mind. And it was like, hey, we're going to do this thing. Okay. But I don't think they were really involved in negotiations of how it happened and how much the developer could do. And hey, here's what we really need. It was almost just like, hey, you got this, you happy? And it's like, but that wasn't really enough, because it's pre-K and K. That's not going to solve the problem of the area. The problem of the area is if you're going to put up 50-story buildings, 70-story buildings, and you're going to put down facts like, oh, there's only 5 families going to live there. That's not true. Where are these people going to go to school?
Right.
Like, how are we going to, as a city, how are we going to house these kids in school? So that's something that I really want to look at as far as before we start developing, okay, we want to put up these 20 buildings in this area. Where are those kids going to school? If anyone can tell me that, then maybe we can work on this. But if we can't, we got a different problem, right? Because Cordero can't take him anymore. 16 can't take him anymore. 5 can't take him anymore.
Yeah.
We're out of schools down here. That's pretty much it. But again,
and how are they brainstorming like these ideas? What are they like? Is there a think tank that goes on, or is it just?
I don't know enough about it to,
what's the
to
wiring?
tell you. I think the wiring is just like, here's what we're doing. And I don't really understand that. And I think, I look at Journal Square now and I see a lot of building very quickly in a concentrated area, right? And like, I would have thought that we learned our lesson with downtown, just like, hey, we can build, but let's do it at a realistic pace and let's plan the city out properly. So now you got a situation there where there's, what is it, like 6 50-story buildings up at the same time, more or less, right? Where are those people going to go?
Right.
Like I'm all for changing the neighborhood, and that's great. I love that they're making an effort to fix Journal Square. Great, right premise. Let's do it properly.
Right.
What happened to 20-story apartment buildings? I just don't know. And so when you ask me what's that process been, I can't really give you a solid like, oh, well, they've got to go here and they've got to do this and they've got. I really don't know, because I was at a affordable housing meeting there the other day, full room, full house. Everyone's like concerned about stuff going on, that there's not enough affordable housing, not enough parking. Where are these people going to go? They're putting their cars in the street now. Homeowners have nowhere to park. Make them park at their own garage. it's all getting crazy. And I didn't think I was going to walk into a full room, but I walked in. I was
Where
like,
was
there's
this?
a lot of full room. The church right on Pavonia, and I forget which street.
Was that the Journal Square thing?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
my wife was there. Olga, did you see her?
Oh, was she really
Yeah,
there?
she was there.
I didn't.
She told me about that.
I didn't see her. No, I didn't see her. But yeah, it was full room. She told you, right?
Yeah. People were upset.
People were upset. People are going to be upset.
Yeah.
So, but this is again, if you exclude people from the plan, if you go off and you do stuff like this, they're going to come out. I get it. But if you're telling a developer he can do X, he's also assuming that you were good. Hey, we're good here. We made the deal. I guess we're good, right? That's not the way it should be. You know,
it just feels like there needs to be a bigger vision. Like somebody needs to put it all on the table.
Yeah.
Like all the problems, you
Right.
know, and just
Right.
start connecting the dots. And you know, how can we make all of this stuff work?
How can we make it all work? How can we make?
Right?
How can we make all this
developers
stuff
have
work?
these needs. You know, how can we give them what they need, and at the same time trade for what we need?
The neighborhood needs X, Y, and
Just
Z. And
start connecting it
don't see that.
without the middleman taking for themselves.
That's
you know
the
what I mean?
problem.
That's
That's the
problem,
real
right.
problem. Is that there's like a broker there
There's a broker, exactly.
that's not helping either side.
No.
Right? Not helping the developer have a good name and not helping the community. How does that happen? I
Right.
don't know, I'm not going to say it, but you know. what I mean.
Or there's not a good broker. Maybe there could be a broker.
There could be a
but
good-
there needs to be a broker that has the public in mind.
Right. That says we're going to sit on this. We're going to make
Right.
sure that everyone gets what they want out of this. You know why this is going to be a great deal? Because no one's getting everything they want. That's what my mother always told me when the three kids would fight. Is anybody happy? And everyone would be like, no. We're like, well, then we come to a good conclusion to this then. That's the way it's supposed to be. No one's supposed to walk away happy. Everyone's supposed to feel like this is reasonable and this is what should happen moving forward. That's the issue to me.
Yeah.
There's not enough of that in this country. We could take it nationally on that level, which is
100%.
ridiculous, right? I mean, there really isn't enough of that. But locally should be easier to deal with, and it just seems like it just seeps in.
But it's all hiding underneath the radar,
Yeah.
right? Because now we're losing a lot of press,
Yeah,
and not just here, but in many areas,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. So
like
stuff gets
the,
buried.
Right, the local press is not present, so
Right.
you don't know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Little cities like this, they're not in the big publications like the New York Times or the Washington Post.
Right, we sort of fall between the cracks a little bit,
Absolutely.
and I think you're
So
right
the,
about that.
the transparency is not there. So
Yeah.
people don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
So that's a big issue too.
That's a big issue. I didn't think of it along those lines because especially like New York is always going to get its press.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter what happens, like it's always going to be like, oh my God, this happened, that happened, and every news media outlet is going to report what happened, right? Jersey City,
Yeah.
yeah, we
Like when New York City lost its affordable housing program, which, gave developers incentives to build certain buildings with affordable housing.
right.
A lot of their projects fell through the cracks and they can't get them off the ground anymore, right?
Absolutely.
Some buildings are actually like halfway up and stopped.
Yes.
You'll see them in Brooklyn,
yeah,
Manhattan,
yeah.
wherever, right? Some are for sale in distress situations, right?
Yeah.
And because of that, there hasn't been as much building in Manhattan. And we're talking millions of people that need housing.
Yeah,
And we're
Just not doing
we're right across the water here in Jersey City, right?
right.
So now people are migrating here, driving up the cost of living because there's not enough housing
In New York.
to go around.
Absolutely.
In New York and here.
And here.
Right? So how do you solve that problem? You got to build. You got to
Yeah.
build as much as you can.
Just got to do it smart.
And at the same time, a lot of people are against it because they think that's what's driving up the price. But in reality, it's not. In reality, you need housing to absorb the amount of demand that's there.
Well, the market is what the market is, right? I mean, there's nothing you can really do to change that. And I don't think it's really developers aren't changing what the market is. They're building because there is a market. If there wasn't a market, they wouldn't build.
Absolutely.
That's the way it works, right? So you can't have one without the other sort of thing going on here. And that's why when people get upset, I say, well, this is how everything plays out. Everyone wants their home to be worth a certain amount of money, but no one wants to pay taxes.
Right.
I mean, taxes are its own story in this town, and I don't want to go down that road because that's obviously a sore spot for me and everyone else, obviously. But it's also one of those situations where you have to realize that there's good that comes along with it too, and there's obviously bad that comes along with it too. But you just have to hope that what you said, Ben, take the time to plan things out right.
Right.
Because you're going to be paying for it, but like a service or a product, are you happy with what you're paying for? That's all it comes down to.
Right.
Again, I have no problem paying taxes, but if I see stuff that's like, what the hell is this? This is what they're doing? Then I get upset.
Right.
Then people start to get upset. Then it's affecting their lives. It's like, wait, I can't park my car because all this is going on. I didn't think about this. Now it's affecting my life.
Right.
So those are the things that we really need to look into.
Sure.
As far as just in general.
Don't you think people would be able to participate more in government and a better plan if they were just a bit more educated on how all this stuff works?
Yeah, so I think that's one of the biggest issues and I really want transparency more so with city government, because I think people aren't aware of everything that's available to them and all the programs that are out there.
Well, not just the transparency, but just like the mechanics of,
that's what I mean too.
Of how everything works, the taxes, the real estate development, the developers, like everything.
You've got to make all that stuff transparent. You've got to make sure that people have access to it, they understand it. Maybe there's something we could do along those levels. I have no idea. I'd love to put classes out there, something, because I think people would enroll in that.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd love to do this. Like we rent out a space and we have a sign up for how real estate works in Jersey City. Oh, what is this about? And it just gives a very 30,000 foot view of what the process is, what a developer goes through, what you're exposed to as a community member or leader, what your options are to get involved in this project and where you can voice your opinion. I don't think people know how that stuff works. And I think you're right about that. And I think where do we need to go to make sure that process is available, known about, and people can get educated about it. I think we have to start something along those lines.
Talking about case studies, like things that have worked in different cities.
Yes.
What did they do here in Chicago? What did they do here in LA? Or maybe that's a bad example, but what did what did they do in whatever city, right? That worked for them that we can apply here. Case studies, right?
I think that's something we need to do a better job of in Jersey City. It's okay to look at what other places did. We take so much pride in who we are. No, we got to do it this way. It's like, but if somebody's got a proven method on something, you go to that and you say, can we emulate this somehow? And maybe we can.
Yeah, and I can understand the people's reaction because when you don't understand anything at all, you just get scared. You get scared and you just say, stop development, stop everything.
Right. Fear leads to anger.
Stop changing our
Fear
neighborhood.
Leads to anger because when you don't know, you get fearful. And then you start thinking about all the bad things can happen, and then you're angry immediately. And I completely understand that. But 100%. Yes, we need transparency on the process.
I do that at home with the kids. When they're just going all over the place, I'm like, stop.
Everything.
Just stop everything.
Yeah, right. What's happening here? Let's figure this out.
Stop.
We got to figure this out. We need to do that here. Because I think people feel like it's a runaway train right now, and they're on it. And they have no control.
They have no control. They don't know what's going on. They're in the dark.
Yeah, they're in the dark. So that's how those meetings happen, where people show up and they're taking the mic and they're like, blah, 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 blah. And then you're just sitting there, you're like, I get why this person's angry.
Yeah.
But how do we not let it come down to this meeting? This should have been conversated 7 meetings ago somewhere else where you could have learned about this process and understand why we are where we are versus you're surprised where we are. Right. And that's what we want to avoid is surprises. So if we can get that kind of education,
I think this should be the conversation, is that telling people hey, before you get angry, let's get educated. Let's start figuring out how all this stuff works.
Yes.
The politics, the development, everything.
I'm curious what that would be like if we could offer some kind of class like that or, forum or whatever it may be, where literally you ask people to, hey, sign up for this.
Well,
and we rent out White Eagle Hall, and 500 people show up. Or something.
At the JCOA, the Jersey City Apartment Owners Association, we are putting together a JCOA tour with developers.
Love it.
Where we are educating people on real estate development on the community level, right? And on a high level, right? Just explaining to them, this is how our performer works. This is what we go through a process, right? When you change the number on, let's say, the tax cell on an Excel sheet, this is how it affects the bottom line.
Right.
What motivates developers to build, what motivates developers to skip town and go build in Baltimore,
right. Yeah.
Like all these things, like the community needs to understand. So what we're planning on doing is going to every neighborhood association
Nice.
and start educating people on how our mechanics work.
Right.
Like, what does it take to get these deals done?
That's awesome, because the neighborhood associations are the leaders in this, because they also feel blindsided by this, right? So if you can get them to understand this process like you're talking about, they can then tell the people, and then they can say, no, you should come to this because this is important that we all learn this so we understand what's happening. And if you guys could hit that on that sort of community level all throughout Jersey City, you will be doing everyone in this city a service that I don't think they are aware that they need.
Yep.
Right? Because it's one of those hidden things where you don't react to something until it makes you angry.
Right.
And you don't even, you know why you're angry, but you don't know how you got there.
Yep.
You guys.
And that's the first thing we want to do is we're not just going to go there and start teaching.
Right.
The first thing we're going to do is go out there and start surveying. Like,
Correct.
What are you angry about?
Nice.
What do you want to know about what we do?
That's good.
Right? Like, just start asking a bunch of questions, and so that we can then shape the education around their needs. Not just like, I'm not going to sit there and start teaching a pro forma because they may not get it.
Yeah.
Let's just dig into what they're angry about.
I think that's the right way to approach that.
Right?
Because,
And then start solving those problems first.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, okay, we don't have air conditioning in our neighborhood, in the school, in the neighborhood, like you just mentioned.
Right.
All right. Well, let's think about what we can do about that. What could potentially be some solutions? How could the real estate development community participate in solving this problem? And how do we work with the politicians to make that happen?
To make that a priority, because again,
let's just take these little anecdotal situations apart and just figuring out small solutions.
Right.
And if you could just that low hanging fruit, fix that little problem once, then you start to build trust. And
and people say, wow, I don't know, we had this meeting and these guys are going to take care. This is great. Like,
exactly.
That's the sentiment needs to happen. And that's what I said to you before about developers. And I love that you're doing that, Ben, and you're in charge of that whole thing. And I think that's wonderful because it's needed on so many levels. Like you said, the education side, the getting stuff done side, the feel good side. Like those things are all necessary as far as this goes, because right now there's none of what I just said. Right. And what you're trying to do is everything in that. And I think that is the best, smartest thing that I've heard anyone say in quite some time when it comes to developers in the community, mixing yourself into that community versus having this push-pull relationship with the community. Like, no, we want to be in this. We are in this.
Yep.
We have to talk to you because you guys are our people.
Absolutely.
We want to help.
Yep.
How can we help?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So,
and look, for me, I'll tell you the truth. The reason why I want to do this is because I'm upset at how developers are looked at.
Good.
We are here trying to build housing for the community, right? I build housing because I have my own personal journey that I went through that appreciates housing. There were times in my life where I was in a situation where I didn't have my own proper housing. So I build a passion for it, right? So I understand how important it is. And then to be told that what we do, putting roofs over people's head is not a good thing, where it's one of the biggest necessity a person needs, right? It's like it's the largest expense in a person's life is to have a roof over your head.
Right.
Next to food and clothes and things like that.
It's the most expensive thing you're going to do.
Exactly.
If you own 100%. Or rent, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So when you hear developers are bad, the builders are bad, right? It's like, wait a minute, guys, we're like farmers. We're not building bombs. We're not building, we're not passing out drugs on the streets. Like we're building homes. That's what we're doing, right? So something is wrong if guys like us who are building homes are hated.
Yeah.
And we need to fix that, right?
Yeah.
So this is where that comes from. Right?
Your approach about the temperature check, though, is absolutely the right thing, right? Where you're trying to basically say, you tell us. Because then I think people really warm up to that.
What's going on in this neighborhood?
You're not walking in telling them.
Right.
You're walking in and asking them. Two totally different things. That's my approach with politics, too. I walk in and I ask people.
You have to
What are your
ask first.
concerns? What annoys you? What do you want to see change? All this kind of stuff, right? Because to me, you can walk in and you can make promises to your heart's content.
Yep.
You're not going to be able to fulfill all of them anyway. So why start from that perspective? But if you can show people that you're making progress on what they consider to be a to-do list, you'll get that trust.
How can you make promises if you don't know what people need?
You don't know what people need. You don't know where they are about this stuff. I agree.
Right.
I
It's
agree.
like, oh, we're going to do this public project. It's going to be great.
Right.
Everybody's going to love it. What is it? It's this.
Oh,
we don't want that.
Why'd you think that was cool?
I'm not going to go to that thing. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Exactly.
Like, how did you figure that one out?
Yeah, well, we just thought about it.
When I was a kid, I always wanted one. Yeah, but it's not.
But the neighborhood didn't
What
need
about
that
us?
at all. Yeah, what are
Right.
you doing? I'm glad you have that for you.
Right,
When you come
exactly.
visit us, you can use it. We don't care about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's totally right. That's totally right. I'm excited about that. When are you guys looking to start that?
We're going to do a series of meet the candidates, the mayoral candidates of Jersey City, right?
Okay.
At the JCOA. So we're going to like do it in different locations. You
Right.
know, one will be here, and every developer is going to host a candidate, and they're going to bring the people that are running with them. So you're running with Waterman, correct?
Yeah.
So most likely you'll be coming to the one where we host her,
Okay.
right? So we're going to do that, and then after the mayoral candidate series, then we're going to do the JCOA tour, where we're educating people on what we do.
Nice.
So,
Okay.
so first there's like the mayoral candidate series is probably about 3 months long, because of everybody's schedules all over the
When are
place.
you looking? When does that start?
That starts in March.
Wow. Okay. Next month.
Yeah, next month. Yeah.
All right. I got to get my dancing shoes on then for that. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. I'm glad you guys are doing that.
Yep.
And I'm really excited about the other thing as far as the
That's
members.
great. Yeah. So we want to do this on two levels, right? The community level, where we are educating people on what we do and understanding their concerns and seeing if we can solve some problems. But we also have to do it with the politicians who are running the city, right? So getting to know them, getting to meet them, understanding what their issues are too,
Right.
and then try to solve these issues together instead of fighting each other.
Yeah, that's the part that's
Right?
got to
Because
stop.
it's like being in a boxing ring with 3 opponents. It's like, everybody's just like fighting.
You can't win in that situation. And, my concern too is, I know there's some candidates running who say, I've never taken money from I have no association with developers, whatever it is. And I always say, that's cool, that's great. But the problem is then you're basically removing yourself from a seat at the table. When you say that kind of thing, you're basically saying, they're bad. I don't associate with them. And I'm with you. And it's
Right.
like, okay, that's really easy to say that. But like I said, the city has no building department.
Right.
So when you need something, your policy is you're just not going to talk to these people. You're going to wind up exactly where you are because it's just not going to work and you're going to get something that you don't want. Again, that same thing we just talked about, right? So I always say you've got to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
You've got to have all options on the table because ultimately you are serving the people.
Right.
And, Ben, if you're going about this the way you say you're going about it with the mayoral candidates and then the community leaders, that's the best possible thing to do. And it's the best news I've heard because it's going to change the mindset of people in the city. It's going to change the way people look at developers. It's going to change what actually happens with development because people are going to feel like they have a say.
They should have a say. It's their
They
neighborhood.
absolutely have to have a say. That's the point. But that you're seeking it out
Right.
is the best part because you're basically saying, we've seen the way this has been done. This isn't working.
Obviously.
We need to change that because there are still too many angry people about their problems, and we need to find out what those problems are and get ahead of this. So that is like, again, I commend you for doing that
Thank you.
because I think I don't want to say it's outside the box. I almost want to say like, I'm glad to know you because that kind of thought leads to a better place for everyone.
Yeah.
And I think there's always been this sort of connotation that like the big developers are just knocking doors down and doing what they want and this and that. And in some ways, back in the day, some of that was going on, right? We can't dispute that.
Absolutely.
But you're basically trying to say we're gonna work this. We're gonna work this out.
Yeah.
We're gonna figure this out.
We need to
people.
figure it out.
Right.
And we do.
Right.
And,
We do.
and I think that's the best approach is just start asking questions, start listening.
I love it.
What people need, what people's needs are, and just start coming up with solutions.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. I'm going to be at every single one of those because I want to see what these communities are going to say. Like I'm going to be at them.
Come to every single one.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I will be because
and you should come to every single mayoral candidate.
I will be there too. I will be there too. Absolutely. I will be there.
Yep.
Hey, I'm not working, right? I'm putting everything I got into this, right? That's what I said. I'm putting everything I got into this because I want to hear all sides. I want to hear all people.
Yeah.
And I want to hear that we basically can work out a solution to all these issues.
But that's how you lead.
Right.
You have to lead by listening.
Right.
You can't, you just can't start dictating
I will do
what you feel like. I hate to use the word dictating.
Don't we have that right now somewhere? Someone's
so.
doing that somewhere. I don't know who that is. I'm not going to say anything. Right. I don't know. I don't know. But
yeah. What about taxes? Let's talk about taxes.
Oh Lord.
Property taxes.
That's you got the big can opener out. Huh?
I figure just like spill out the worms.
Yeah. What about taxes? So I have a lot of concern about what's going on with taxes, and obviously the state aid being pulled back, especially on the educational side, which got us to be where we are. So you had the double whammy of they pulled back about $250 million. We had the reveal happen. So over the last 5 years, I think taxes have gone up 50% almost, 50%.
That's wild.
That's an awful lot of money. I could have just stopped at awful because it's awful. The question is moreover, what are we going to do about this situation? I think that, at the point now where our values have gone up so that our tax system, when you compare it to New York City, and this is what gets people riled up, we pay more here than they do on real estate taxes, right? Yeah. Now, in fairness, New Jersey is more of a property-based tax system. New York does a lot with income tax-based system. Why am I bringing that up? I'm bringing that up because it's two different ways of looking at things. If you're working, you can afford to pay taxes because you're working. You have income coming in, so you could have income going out. The problem I have with the property-based, mainly property-based tax system is that you'll have a situation like you have here where maybe there's a person who lived in a home and their taxes when they bought it was $5,000, but now they're not working. They're retired. They want to stay in their home. Their value has gone up, and now they're paying $40,000 from the time that they bought it. And they can't afford that. They can't afford that, right? What are we doing to help that person stay in their home? I don't really know what we could, right? So so that becomes a casualty of Jersey City. And that's the thing that scares me is we want to be a town that can take care of our own. We want to keep people here. We don't want to be a transient town. And I'm not saying I'm against people from New York moving here. I want them to move here and stay here, right? I don't want them to be in and out, right? Because that was what we went through that in the 80s and 90s and in the 2000s. But I think more people have moved and they stayed here. In fact, I would even argue that the real population of Jersey City is not at all what it says it is. Because it's been like 280, 290, 100,000 for the last 20, 30 years. Yeah. Not possible.
Right.
I don't know how that's possible. I mean, when they put up a 50-story building, the population went up too. Like, it's just not happening, right? So a lot of that's transient. I get that. But then that means we're also underfunded as a city because we don't get credit for those people that are actually living here. We're underfunded. We're underrepresented possibly, right, as far as how all that stuff works. So as far as the taxes goes, can we change that system? I don't think that's something that can happen overnight. But I still don't understand why the state pulled our state aid money back from us as far as our schools went, because all they did was look at our ratables and say, you guys have like $55, $60 billion in ratables. You don't need our money anymore. Goodbye. But that's not the right way to look at it because urban school systems operate much differently than suburban school systems. We know that. And we know that there are reasons why that is. But to just pull that money indiscriminately, I think is borderline criminal because we have students that aren't doing well in our schools. And I'm not saying that there isn't waste in our own system. I'm not saying there aren't things that we can look at and say, we need to change things as far as our schools go. But I know that there are different nuances here. And just to pull that money indiscriminately, when I even just told you about the buildings in disarray, right, and disrepair, you're crushing those buildings and you're crushing our budget because now everyone here is paying for those things instead of the state. So, one of the things I'd like to try to do is work with the state to say, hey, what are we doing here? You guys are punishing when you make this decision, you're punishing everyone who lives here.
Yeah.
right? You're not saying, well, you guys are good, so your schools should be good. And you're punishing every taxpayer that lives there, every renter. Renters say, well, I don't pay tax. It's like, well, you better think about that because you're paying your landlord's tax. I mean, you'd be living there if you weren't, right? So that doesn't make any sense. But we've got to figure out a way to get some of that money back for some purposes for the schools. We've got to look at our tax system overall. And I know that there's, I think, one candidate running that says, I'm going to lower your taxes 15%. How can you even say that with a straight face? Like we talked about making promises on campaigns. Like you can't just make that promise out of the day one. I'm going to lower this 15%. There's no way you can just do the math. It doesn't add up.
Right.
No way. So it's a huge problem. I'd love to know what your perspective is on that too, Ben.
I think part of the reason was that we have reached a certain medium income range in the state. So, as a city, so the government, the state government is looking at it as, you may not need this support anymore because of that income range that you have in Jersey City. And that's happened because of all the different people that have moved from New York City with the big salaries.
Right.
Right. So now it's disproportionate. You have all these people, the high earners are just changing the averages.
Right. And hiking everything up.
Yeah, and hiking everything up. But the state is not looking at the special needs that the city has, right? We're also a city of immigrants, right? That are coming from all over the world. We're one of the most diverse cities in the country, right?
Right.
So they're not looking at the influx of immigrants that are coming to New Jersey, and we're absorbing all of that. The people that could be going to the rest of New Jersey,
right. They're coming here,
right? Who kind of doesn't want that to happen. If you go to the suburbs, not in our neighborhood. We don't want that here, right? So Jersey City is absorbing all of that, so it needs that special support, not only just as a community, but in the education system.
Yeah.
Those kids that are coming in from different countries need special education.
Right.
They're learning a new language.
Yeah. They're starting out behind. They need extra help. Yeah.
Both parents are working.
Yeah.
They need better lunch programs, right? So it's beyond what the numbers are saying.
Right.
It's beyond that, right? They can't just like pull the plug and not get into the details.
And that's my issue, is that they literally just pulled the plug instead of saying, hey, here's a 10-year plan to wean you off this money, or let's talk about what your needs are. They were just like, hey, we're taking this money. Right. And I can remember when I was on the school board, we were fighting to get local control back. Where it was like one of these things where it's like, our reports have to be done on time and they have to be done properly, and make sure you submit them to the state, and we're going to have people help us, and blah, blah, blah. We're going to jump through all these hoops, and we're going to cross all these T's and dot all these I's. We did all that. And while we were doing that, I told the president of the board, I said, they're giving us control back, right? No matter what we do. He said, well, what do you mean? No, we're working so hard to get this done. I said, they're doing that because they're going to pull this money. And if they have control over our district still, they got to give us that money. They can't have control and pull the money. But if they give us back control, they're pulling the money. And I said, they're absolutely going to pull this money. And what did they do? They pulled it without even a plan. They said, boop, that's it. It's gone. And that's it.
Yeah.
And that is, like you said, then it's not taking all the other stuff into account. It's looking at those incomes. It's looking at property values and just saying, well,
you don't need it.
Well, they're fine.
Yeah.
So we'll just pull this out of there. And then we can imagine what we could do with $250 throughout the state.
And it goes back to the approach of like asking questions, understanding what is going on in a city, right? To me, that's poor leadership.
That's poor leadership.
Honestly, right?
Poor leadership.
You really have to take it apart before you make
that
big decisions.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Because people could get hurt in that process.
And that's why
schools not getting repaired, or lunch programs are not there, or whatever it is. I don't know the full details of it,
but that's the issue.
But you have to dig into it.
And it is the lower income families that suffered at a disproportional rate, and that's the real issue. And that's why when they do that, what is that tax program in New Jersey where they give you a little bit of money back, right? Oh, we're going to give you. We're going to give you $750, or maybe you qualify for $1,500.
Happens during the elections, a few months before the election. It's on the billboards.
That's shell game garbage. Why are we playing that game of like, oh, well, you made this much, so you get some back now? just don't take it in the first place. Like, what are we doing with that nonsense? Are you trying to buy votes? Because I don't understand that program at all.
Yeah, well, you just nailed the.
Well, yeah, okay. You
just nailed it.
You're right. You're right. But
just trying to buy votes.
I don't know. I got a check back for $1,500 from that guy. He's doing a great job.
Right.
Is he really doing a great job? And are there people in this country or this state rather that don't need that money?
A lot of people that don't need that.
A lot of that people that don't need that money, right? So that's kind of my point is if I'm getting that money back and I got that money back, that means someone disproportionately who makes a lot less money than I do or my wife does, they're not getting any more than I'm getting. Does that make any sense? Like, again, shell game stuff.
Yeah.
And we got to stop that kind of nonsense because that makes no sense. And it leads to this thing as poor leadership. It's like a knee-jerk reaction of like, people are complaining about taxes. Okay, I know what we'll do. We'll come up with this thing and we'll send them this money once a year and it'll be around election. And people remember that. But stop with the gimmicks.
Well, that's exactly what it is.
Right? People want to get through their lives. They want to know that they're okay. They want to know that their kids are okay. And that stuff works.
Yeah.
And if we can do that, it's all good. And even if taxes are high, people will pay them if stuff works.
Yeah.
Right? People will pay it if it works. That's what I tell everybody. But you can't have a dysfunctional New Jersey transit system. It's awful. Mm-hmm. If you compare New Jersey Transit to Metro North or to the Long Island Railroad, you would be laughed off those trains. Because our trains are still from like 1968 or something, and they got all new trains on those lines, and that's the MTA. And I'll go off on the MTA all I want. Obviously, they're doing something right because they got the better system over there. If you look at our PATH train, come on, man. These guys are hiding behind this like pseudo, well, we're a government agency this week, but next week we're a private company, and they've got whatever they're doing. I don't know what they do, but they don't run great PATH train service. It's horrific.
Yeah.
It's horrific. Why are you working on every station at the same time? They closed Hoboken for a month. It's open now. But then they're still working on Grove. They're expanding. Just fix this one and move on to the next one.
Do you want to know what my theory is?
Well, I want to know. I do want to know.
My theory is that they work on the PATH trains all at the same time so people don't use them on the weekends or maybe even throughout the week. So they use their cars to get through the Holland Tunnel and pay, $25 a head to get through.
Well, that could be true, but now there's congestion pricing.
Right. Well, that's another battle.
Yeah, that's another battle.
Now New York is trying to capture that money.
Which, by the way, the congestion pricing thing, I understand what New York is trying to do, and I'm not even necessarily opposed to what they're trying to do. Okay, because they look at like London and they say, well, London's doing it and it's working there. Okay, great. You don't have to pay $18 to cross the Thames River. It's free. Okay? You just have to avoid a circle in the center of town. There's no toll before you get in there. So you're not charging people already. Secondly, they're taking our money and they're putting it towards the MTA. We're not getting a dime, but they're like, oh, hey, you should use public transportation. Well, does New Jersey Transit or PATH get any of that money? Well, no. But you should use public transportation because, because it's so terrible over here. So we get no slice of that at all. And that's really why I'm against it, is not because I understand what New York's trying to do. And yes, we should cut down on cars. Great. Fix stuff and people will use it. Don't then say, well, if you want to continue to drive, we got to charge you another $9 because, your trains are so good. We know you're going to come this way anyway. So we're going to get a little $9. It's not right.
Right.
These things are not right. So they get the $9. So when their people come in from Queens or Brooklyn, they get $9, right? And the trucks got to pay like $20. The buses pay $14 or whatever the hell the crazy schedule is, right? It's a lot of money. Yeah. So if you think restaurants are expensive now in New York, wait till they're delivering eggs through the Holland Tunnel on a truck.
Oh, yeah.
Forget that, right?
Yeah.
So the point is
I paid. I got to tell you.
Is this an egg story?
I got to tell you a little egg story, right? Okay. I dropped off my daughter at a school in New York for the weekend. She was doing the thing. And I stopped for breakfast. Right? I was like, you know what? I'm hardly in the city. Let me just have breakfast here. 2 eggs, piece of toast, cup of coffee, $36.
No, whoa,
$36. Come on, man. $36.
2 eggs, a piece of toast.
2 eggs, a piece of toast, and a cup of coffee. $36.
I mean, I don't want to laugh, but I have to kind of laugh a little bit. Right?
I was eating every crumb.
It's insane.
I was eating every crumb.
That is insane. Yeah. My wife's mother just sent us a picture. She was in the store to buy eggs 12 eggs, $19.98.
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on? And how is all of this going to help? So when I look at congestion pricing, again, I get the sentiment of what it's trying to accomplish, and I think that's the right thing to do. But if you're going to charge us, you better give something back to our public transportation. Otherwise, our options are still terrible. But they're taking our money and they're fixing their system. And I think that's why I have a problem with it. I don't think you go right to suing. I don't think you get to all that stuff, but I think you have a realistic conversation and say, hey, New York, you're our partner in a lot of stuff here, right? How do we do this properly? Can we have 50% of the $9 that we're giving you guys for our trains? I mean, does that work for you? Like something.
Sure.
But like, you can't then tell people to take public transportation and have the PATH train be in charge of that? Or New Jersey Transit? These entities are, it's a disaster. I mean, it literally is a disaster. So I don't know what we do about this. I don't know where we go from that.
Well, at the end of the day, you got to just have people sitting at the table and talking, asking the right questions to the public, right? Like we need to hear everything, and we need more transparency. There's just not enough of it.
Way more transparency.
Nobody understands how anything works.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Here's the other thing I don't understand. I actually went through the Holland Tunnel the other day for the first time. I was like, I'm not paying that price. We had to go somewhere. We paid the congestion pricing. But I thought New Jersey got like a $3 discount or something. Yeah. I didn't get anything back. My Easy Pass charge, it was $9. So I'm still waiting for that money to come. We take a while to give you your money back. We'll take your money right away.
Nobody understands it. I mean,
I don't understand it. It makes sense.
You're a regular guy in downtown here, right?
Right.
Can you tell me how much money is what's the gross revenue in the Holland Tunnel?
No. Couldn't tell you. I have no idea.
Do you know?
All I know is that the price goes up. That's all
per day. Nobody knows.
No.
And where does it all go?
Well, that's the part that really nobody knows. That's why I'm like, you guys have no money for the PATH train?
Right.
Really? These are the same people who run all the airports.
Right.
So what are we doing here? I mean, how do you have no money to fix the PATH train? You guys should have more money than anybody. You run every major airport. You run the ports. You run the GWB, the Lincoln Tunnel, and the Holland Tunnel, and the Staten Island crossings as well. Where is all that money going?
Where does it go?
And why do we need, again, this is not to take a shot at police officers at all. We need police officers. We need a strong police force. Why does the Port Authority need so many police? Why? What is the deal with that?
A lot of friends.
You guys have to patrol like 3 bridges, 2 tunnels, and just down here in Jersey City, I see so many. So many. I'm like, this is disproportionate. What's going on? Right. I don't understand how the organizations run, but they may need to be doged. And I'm not in favor of that.
Wow.
But I don't know what's going on over there because they got a lot of issues, but somehow that money's not winding up in the right place. It's not winding up in the public's best interest.
And like I said, nobody knows how it's
Nobody knows how it goes. No one can challenge it.
Right. Where's the budget? Like, can we see like the numbers?
Because it's not
and if we see the numbers, are the numbers real?
Right. Because they're like semi-private, so they don't really have to. I don't know how that whole thing works.
Right. Nobody knows how it works.
I don't get it. I don't understand. How do you own a tunnel?
I don't even know if you're allowed to ask.
We're going to get in trouble for this podcast right now because there were 2 guys talking about us, and
is he asking?
I'm asking. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Right.
So got a lot of issues you got to work on.
A lot of issues.
But I mean, these are issues that touch everybody in the city. And that's the part that I have an issue with is that we're not asking for a lot. A working public transportation system, not asking for a lot. And the city, unfortunately, we don't govern those things, right? The New Jersey Transit's run by the state. We can't say anything to them about that. I think we need more buses in general in the city.
Yeah.
More frequently and more routes, right?
Yeah.
Why isn't there a bus that goes through the Holland Tunnel? Can anyone answer me that question? Why isn't there a bus from here that goes and can let you off downtown somewhere? I know Staten Island's got buses down there. Brooklyn, I see all their stuff down there.
Sure.
We can't have a place where New Jersey Transit can let people off and let people on in the city?
A lot of things.
I don't understand that kind of stuff.
Why isn't there a pedestrian bridge that goes from Jersey City to New York? Just a pedestrian bridge.
Right, because Brooklyn has 3.
Yeah, why not 1? It's a short span.
Yeah.
You can have that, right?
Right. They won't do it. They won't do it. They would change everything. If you could bike and walk over something that was right there, Huge.
It was proposed
Was it really?
years ago. Yeah, it was.
Really?
Absolutely. Somebody put together a plan. It was on the news and everything.
Well, we need to repropose that.
And there was a rendering, and then it just got shut down.
Really?
A pedestrian bridge. Yeah. I'm gonna pull that up. I'm gonna flash it. I'm gonna flash it on.
Yeah, I got to see that.
On this talk.
I got to see that because absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a proponent for that.
Yeah. Why not? Just walk over.
Like I said, Brooklyn's got 3.
Right. We'll take a bike over.
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
Totally be in favor of that.
Is it good for the people?
Well, I mean,
Maybe
maybe the path and maybe the ferry company and maybe a couple of people were like,
Right.
you put that plan away.
Right,
We don't need
right.
people getting in there.
We
for
need
free.
people paying the tolls.
Exactly.
need
Keep it
the
at
toll
$18. We need that money. Where are you going
right.
with this? So
Exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. But these are things that common people need.
Yeah.
And they're actually low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
They're actually things we know people want that stuff. Yeah. Like, I'm not for more PATH trains and I'm not for more buses. And I would hate a pedestrian
And it's not
bridge.
like they're going to stop making money. I mean, we're at the breaking point. Like, people need it because they're about to go broke.
Yeah, right. And we're not offering options.
Right.
We're not telling people, we're not informing people. Like you said,
Exactly.
you can't even get into what the Port Authority does as far as anything. We just don't know because they ain't sharing it. So I don't know what to do about any of that.
Yeah.
I really don't.
No. Well, we can fix it, I think.
I think we can. I think we just have to be more informative, like you're saying.
Yeah.
We got to make noise, but we also have to teach. We have to make sure people understand what's available to them, what they can do, and how we can help them.
Yeah.
You can do those 3 things.
Ask the right questions, understand everybody's pain points.
Yeah.
And just start solving problems like that. Listen. Just listen to people's needs.
Go a long way.
Absolutely.
Go a long way.
Great.
All right.
Thanks for coming, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is awesome. This is
great. We're going to do this again.
Please.
I feel it.
Yeah, this is easy. This is like we could just sit
Good
here
stuff.
and we could film another episode today. This would be great. So
Let's take a break and come back.
Yes, sir. Excellent.
All right, man.
Excellent, man.
Good stuff.
Thank you. Hey, awesome, man.
Good.
Really good. Really good.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like the video and drop a quick comment or even a question. I'd love to hear about what stood out to you most. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, a quick rating or review goes a long way in helping us reach more people who care about these kinds of conversations. And of course, hit subscribe wherever you're watching or listening so you don't miss what's coming next. See you in the next episode.